The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, this just in. Information coming into the Eyewitness newsroom that the Candidates Committee of the Progressive Liberal Party has just selected Sebas Bastian as the potential candidate for the Fort Charlotte constituency. We'll talk about that and some of the other hopefuls who are interviewed at PLP headquarters this evening. Meanwhile, a showdown on Bay Street for a second time in 1 week as the BUT and the BPSU, with their members in tow, protested against not being paid last month after a national public service salary review. The question tonight, where and were there missteps in the process? Why are the unions angry? We hope to get to the bottom of that for you this evening. And later this evening, the University of the West Indies is here to talk about its 19th Research Days Conference. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along tonight. It's the first time that any government has made an attempt to right-size public service workers' salaries. Before now, there were salary adjustments and reviews, but done individually at individual government agency. That is until this national salary review for the entire public service, about 17,000 or so workers we're speaking about, undertaken by Prime Minister Philip Davis. Well, we're going to get into this evening and find out exactly how this went left, why it went left, and was there a need for it to go left? Former labor union leaders, now leaders in the Labor Relations Unit, Bernard Evans and Paul Maynard, join me this evening. Gentlemen, it's good to have you both here. Good evening to both of you and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good night, sir. Good to be back.
I'm surprised to find out that this is the first time this sort of exercise, not the first time of adjusting public service salaries or even reviewing, but that the entire public service at once has been has undergone the salary review on this scale. Was this just too ambitious an undertaking by the Prime Minister?
Well, Shadiq, if you know the Prime Minister, I think I've never met someone with such a heart on understanding the salaries of where public servants were. And when we came into the picture, I'm talking about the Labor Relations Unit, we all came from quasi-government, Paul coming from BPL and myself from BTC at the time, who at one point we had tea ladies, not to throw off on them, but whose salaries were near $38,000, $40,000 per annum. And coming into the public space and seeing the salaries of PSs and some of the well-qualified, they're talking about people with master's degrees and what have you, whose salaries, I think, starting salaries in some cases are around $26,000. I just couldn't believe it.
At that senior level?
Yeah, at that senior level. And this is what we saw in the public service. And so I think we recognized that the brain drain, pretty much, that people just wanted to get out of the public service, qualified personnel who just wanted to get out just for the attractive salaries and benefits that they can find elsewhere in other quasi or in the public service. And so the Prime Minister got to work. We mentioned this to him. As a matter of fact, when we came into this space, we told them that we were never going to take off our union hats, that we're going to negotiate for workers as if we are negotiating for our own members once we got here. And so ambitious, I don't think that's a good word to use. Compassion maybe is the better word to use. He saw that something needed to be done. To do it now, however, the whole process started. I never thought it would get to this. I never knew that.
Right, because when you all say, PM, look here for a second. We come from the quasi-government sectors, And we know what the salaries are there. They are handsome salaries and excellent benefits. And when you all stepped into this labor relations unit and really saw for yourselves truly what, as you said, permanent secretaries and directors and the like, and those senior level, what they made, and some of their salaries weren't reviewed for quite some time. When y'all thought to bring this to his attention and say, let's make this better so that they stop leaving the civil service, did you ever imagine that it would end up like this? And then, if it started off with that group, then how did the entire public service get involved?
Well, what happened was the PSs and the deputy PSs were sorted out because they were saying their counterparts in the corporations were far, far, far ahead of them, which they were. And then in order to deal with the lawyers, the doctors, engineers, and the technical people, you have to send it out to an accounting firm to deal with it. And that was sent out. When it got back, the PM noticed that, listen, the support staff are not on this. This is good. This
Meaning
is not,
the junior staff
right,
of the public
that's
service.
Correct. Mm-hmm. They're not on this. Mm-hmm. And that's how when he decided, okay, we'll pay the professionals and the technical people, but now we also need to get the junior staff sorted out as well.
So this is how this huge exercise happened.
Yes.
And so everyone's salary, the entire 17,000 plus of the public service, was then given obviously to the accounting firm to say, hey, listen, how can we make this better at their varying levels?
Yes.
Now it has been said that this isn't as noble as that this is the Prime Minister's and the government's attempt at union busting. In fact, BPSU President Kingsley Ferguson said a couple of weeks ago that the government seems to want to one-up the union. How did you both handle this type of exercise? Yes, it never happened across the board, but it happened in your various ministries where you were union presidents and your agencies. How did you handle this when, at that time, an administration said, we want to improve the public service salaries and adjust here and adjust there? I mean, were you all saying, wait a minute, government, you all came through us?
Let me say this. Another culture shock for me was that I couldn't really understand how the union operated within the public space. The union is sole bargaining agent for its members. So in other words, members give up their right to their salaries, to the knowledge that is of their wages, salaries, and benefits, emoluments, or what have you, to the union. When we came there, we noticed that letters and stuff were put on files, increases were given to staff without the union knowledge. And apparently that was the order of the day for decades. And so it's the same commonplace for the union representatives not to know at times what is going on with respect to increases or what have you. Now, the salary review, to be fair, because we negotiated a recent contract 3 years ago with the BPSU, the salary review was not a bone of contention, nor was an issue when we signed that industrial agreement, because if it was, I certainly would have made sure that it was done. Now, the only place that the BPSU had a salary review of a bone of contention, I think, was the University of Bahamas, and I think they are well on their way of trying to get that resolved. However, going back to what you're asking, how was that done without a union, and they're saying you're trying to up them one? Well, I think the employer or management always have the right to want to do better. I always said that when you have benevolent bosses or benevolent persons or management in charge who want to do right by their workers, you would find that you don't need union in those spaces. Unions come out of the belly of agitation when they are taken advantage of or underpaid or what have you. In this case, ever since we began this process, the Prime Minister wanted to meet with all the unions to say, listen, give us 3 years for this industrial agreement. I'm going to give you all at least 7 increments, because there was a pause on increments. And so he quickly reinstated increments, the annual increments based on performance, and gave an additional 4 increments and ensure that the scales would open up to accommodate those additional increments. And so on average, every union within the public service and even quasis recognized an average of 7 increments, 4 plus the 3 annual increments based on performance. And
this has happened.
This has happened. And so we made sure that no union could say that they have not been getting received their increments based on those over the last 3 years. So on average, when you look at it, people average 2.5 or 2.3 increments per annum. So if I were to place that anyway from a figure perspective, you're talking about $3,500 over the last 3 years compounded that they have been able to receive on their salaries as a result of our negotiations. So having said that, though, going back to the Prime Minister, didn't want to stop there. He just wanted to continue to raise the salaries. And let me just add this last thing too on this, and I'll let Paul chime in. What I'm saying the Prime Minister also wanted to do was, again, fortify and solidify the middle class. And that has been eroding.
We know that inflation has been an issue.
Right.
I've been hearing that and trying to obviously afford Bahamians, the average Bahamian family, an opportunity to be able to, again, afford living in this country,
Right.
buying groceries and taking care of their families. Paul, I want to ask you, you experienced a similar type exercise. Yes, it wasn't this sort of wide scale across the board thing, but it happened with your union and your union members at BTC at the time.
No, BEC, yes.
Yes.
And it was the whole corporation.
Yes.
Everybody went through the exercise. And they started with us, and then they went to middle management, and then they went to executive management. It was done, it was corporation-wide. It happens, and it's encouraged. We encouraged it because we wanted more. And they said the only way it's going to happen is we bring in an accounting firm and they deal with it. And it was done by KPMG.
Mm-hmm. I think this one is being done by who?
Deloitte.
Or was done by
Deloitte,
Deloitte & Touche.
yeah.
Okay, now, here's the thing. Now, you gave an order a moment ago, and see, this is another bone of contention as far as I'm aware and I'm hearing. You said it happened with you all first, then the middle management, then executive.
Yeah.
Well, a part of the issue here is they're saying, well, why are you stopping the senior staff?
Because
And the senior staff are making all this money
Right.
with all these perks, and you start with them and not the woman who held up that was crying even. Say she's a janitress, and was she getting paid? She has one deduction, which is excellent, Mom. That's wonderful. It's good that you seem to be managing your money well. But she is saying give her her money.
yes, but see, it was done wrong then, because you should start at the top and come down. That's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to start at the top. Once they get it in, middle management should reflect off that, and then we should reflect off middle management. That's how it's supposed to be done. So Deloitte was doing it in the correct way.
Yes. Now, I want to ask you all, the salary review report was released last night. It was done so that the nation, the Prime Minister said, listen, you all be the judge. There it is. Read it, study it, understand it, see that there's nothing being hidden, there's nothing untoward. Were you both able to look at that report? And what do you make of it?
I was able to look at the report. The report is really not readable, easily understood by a novice. And so, like I think Paul alluded to it earlier. The report initially was for, I think, middle management and up. I think when the Prime Minister saw that, he said, no, what happened to the bottom, right? We got to make sure that they're done. And so, if you've ever seen the salary book in the public service, you're talking about thousands and layers and layers and layers of salary scales and job descriptions and job labels and what have you. And I think they were able to apply, I think, whereas there are 3 metrics that were used by Deloitte just for speedy resolution to get it done. And I think the price index, the consumer price index, I understand what was used. I could be correct.
So that
on
also,
that. Yeah, but I think going by the price index, you're talking about inflation and all that stuff. And I think coming out of this, I think the members of the BPSU and all of the public service who will be impacted by this should be a little bit satisfied. They may not get all of what they anticipate, but I know that something significant should be added to their salary, and that is the key. Added to their salary, not so much of a lump sum that people always like to talk about. Because at least if someone's added to your salary, that is forever.
right,
And it
that
carries
you
with it.
build
Right.
from there.
And it's
Instead of
impacted
the
on-
lump sums that by time the lump has summed on your account, you doggone looking around to see where it is. But that's been another issue as well. They're saying, why couldn't we be paid in September? What is this December about? So gentlemen, why the 3-month wait?
Well, we don't want to preempt the Prime Minister as tomorrow he meets with McPhee, I believe.
He is. He is
Yes,
meeting
he
with
meeting
Stephen McPhee of BEMU
right.
and the
Major.
other teachers union
Right.
president.
Yeah,
That's correct,
Senator
yeah.
Beckle.
And so, we don't want to preempt him in his way of thinking and what he's doing. I guess he'll get to the public and tell them why it happened, et cetera, et cetera. So, we don't want to preempt him in any way.
But it's important too to mention, and let me just say this is crucial too, and I'm glad we have to be very careful. And I think whoever the technocrats are doing it, for instance, you have the principals or those represented in BEMU. I think their categorization, where they are, their job title, commensurate with across the board who they should be pegged with, that was left out. And so that needs now to be corrected, and perhaps now it may result in maybe their salaries being
Stephen
looked
did
at.
talk about that.
Absolutely.
He did talk about it, and he's happy that, listen, he's getting that meeting and being able to speak with the Prime Minister one-on-one so that they move forward.
Right.
He and his membership move forward. What do you want to say to the Bahamian people tonight? What must they understand? And our union tactics and all of it, is it, I don't know, is it time for sort of a new set of tactics?
Well, you speak last. Let me speak of this. I just want to mention something because I see a lot of people like to throw off on the memorandum of understanding the union side.
Yeah, that MOU. Look at you, Bernard, how you can shift from the question the host
No,
asked.
but hold on, but you all know what the people like. I think it's important because somehow we are labeled. When I say we, I'm talking to me too as a union person. Like I said, I've never took off my hat as a union. I'll never take it off for what union represents. When we sat together, when I was head of the National Congress of Trade Unions, Obi Ferguson, he's still head of the TUC, right? We got every affiliate to have 2 representatives on our subcommittee to come up with the memorandum of understanding. That means we had Bahamas Air pilots, nurses, doctors, teachers, every facet of workers, bankers represented, putting together that document. Every union had 2 persons, someone who's always substantial and a designate. To throw off as if we are somehow got swing or hoodwinked over, or someone pulled the wool over
So
our
hold on,
eyes.
the Prime Minister didn't one-up you online?
No, he did not. Let me tell you what.
The Prime Minister didn't have you all sign that
one,
and then toss it away?
but Shanique, no one can. Let me tell you what. We took that document and we sent it to each of the political parties, their Secretary General, not the government. We took it to Lincoln Bain and COI. Lincoln Bain didn't even bother to meet with us. He said, I endorse it. Everything you all have in there, I agree with you all. I support workers. We took it to Carl Culmer, who was then the chairman of the FNB, I believe. He said that they were going to get back to us, they didn't have time or whatever it was. Fred Mitchell, who was then the chairman of the Progressive Party, was saying, well, we agree in principle, but there's some things in there that are of legislative nature that we can't just willingly agree to some of them. Let's meet and sit down and go through the document. I just want to say this. That document, no one disagrees with the tenets of that agreement. And every union should want to have some input in how the country is governed, because all of us are workers. And whatever policy is, whatever legislation is used to fortify and protect workers' rights and guarantee certain protections, we need to do that. Because if there is a bill that needs to be carried by this country when we're in debt, I would never have a problem if the debt that's being carried or being serviced is directly due to the salaries and the benefits of each Bahamian worker in this country.
Right.
Whether you're the professor of UB, or whether you're a doctor, or whether you're the sanitation worker.
Absolutely. Paul, jump in real quick.
Well, Shanique, listen, we are where we are, and I believe that this too will pass. It's going to get sorted out at the end of the day.
Workers will be happy.
They'll be happy.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Workers will be happy.
That's correct.
And so this was a good thing.
It was, yes.
You and Bernard weren't trying to trick nobody. This was genuine and a thought for them.
We have excellent relationships with the union leaders. We can pick up the phone and call them, get an answer, and they come to us. We sort their problems out. That's what we have for the unit.
Yes.
And you know what? And we want to say this openly, and I think no union president, if they will be honest, and I think all of them are, for the most part, honest. All of them are honest. Let me say that. This relationship that we were able to forge with the Prime Minister and with the Minister of Labor, now we have access that if they want to, they can meet with the Prime Minister if he has the time to meet with them. And the exchange that they have with him is such a refreshing engagement. This man would try to give you, as long as they can afford it, he would check with the FS or whoever is responsible for the finances to ensure that it could be carried. Mm-hmm. And if it can be carried, it is yours. And that is the one thing that made us successful in signing the amount of contracts that we've signed. And if you go back to these clips...
Bernard, I invite you back.
Yeah, please.
I invite you back to the show.
Right. If you look at these, every time we sign a contract, you would hear every president they'll say this is one of the best contracts they've ever signed.
Yes. Listen, gentlemen, I thank you both. I want to hear more. The nation wants to understand this better and know more, and also to really truly understand, were these union, were they tricked somehow or misunderstood this thing, or was it an intention to one up them? I thank you both so much because you both are veteran in the industrial relations field. Obviously, you continue to wear that hat and in a different capacity, and so you're covering everything. And I thank you for being very open and frank this evening here on the show. Bernard Evans and Paul Maynard, thank you both so much. Don't go anywhere. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. We talk about that and Sebastian after the break.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Ever feel like you're missing your own life because you're constantly running off to the bathroom? Do bladder leaks or pelvic discomfort have you up at night and affect your confidence in everyday life? Those days are over. At Frequency Vitality Center, we offer a solution. Completely painless, fully clothed with no downtime. Perfect for men and women of any age, we help strengthen the pelvic floor muscles while you sit comfortably, improving bladder control, decreasing night waking, and much more. Strengthen your foundation and restore your confidence.
Running out of space? We've got room for that. Welcome to Skyline Storage, your trusted self-storage solution. Skyline Storage offers units from 5x10 to 10x30, climate controlled or standard dry. Perfect for home or business. Located in Westfield Commerce Park, Western New Providence. Your belongings stay safe with gated access and 24/7 surveillance starting at $175 a month. Reserve, pay, and move in online. No phone calls, no paperwork. Visit SkylineStorage.com. Skyline Storage. Storage made simple.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting.
Crack that code, win $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, more on today's protest, union protest. Education Director Dominique McCartney-Russell revealing a total of 36% of teachers were absent from classrooms today in connection with the protest we talked about in the first segment of tonight's show, a figure that represents 1 in 3 educators across the country, particularly here in the capital, where the protests impacted, or the impact of the protest was felt the most? Well, we're going to jump right in, right there. I mean, you know, the teachers around the nation, some schools had to be let out early. Many others were still in school, but just obviously having to do much more because many teachers didn't show, or percentage of teachers didn't show. So, gentlemen, I want to bring my panelists right in right now. Leslie Miller, good evening to you. Ellington Ferguson and Michael Turnquest, good evening to all of you. Let's just jump right in. Certainly, the kind of impact that education doesn't need at this point in this nation's ongoing evolving.
Absolutely, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. And good evening, Shanique. Education definitely, especially public education, don't need this kind of interruption right now. This is a most unfortunate set of circumstances during this time. Should not have happened. I'm very disappointed in the manner in which it has happened. I think the Prime Minister has sat with the union. He's invited them on a holiday when everybody else is taking off. Here is a Prime Minister who's committed to the process and invited them to come to a meeting. He held to it, his word. They had the meeting and they were supposed to go back the following day. I think discussion in good faith. You cannot go back out of a meeting and issuing threats and stuff like that. I think if the Prime Minister had done that, on the other hand, a lot would have been said. I think it's very unfortunate. I know there's grievances, you got your misunderstanding. There are things that the union expressed that they wanted to know. Obviously, I'm sure that they would have gotten it. They got it last night during the national address. And they were supposed to go when they were supposed to return the following day, which was Tuesday, to continue the discussion. That is very, very, very unfortunate. I think the office of the Prime Minister still need to be respected regardless of who it is, whether it's Free National Movement administration or Progressive Liberal Party administration. That office needs to be respected. And I support the Prime Minister in that he decided, no, I will not sit with a meeting with persons attempting to bully or to lash out. That's not the way you hold discussion. If the Prime Minister was not meeting and they were not at the table, I would understand the union's position. But the whole disruption of school and the whole aggressive wording of it just wasn't called for.
Michael, your thoughts on how today played out, and whether it's the early dismissal of schools, whether, of course, what took place on Bay Street and second time in the space of 7 days. Your thoughts?
Shanique, the one that suffers most is, the little ones of our nation that, we want to see, succeed and, really to, they are the future, and it's sad to see, that this has affected them greatly. We're hoping that, we don't go back into this anytime for the rest of the year. But, I can also understand, we've always said over and over that, our teachers are the backbone of this country, and we need to ensure that we invest in them. I think all governments have played around with this, with the teachers, that being the teachers that, because we have seen over and over decades where we continue generation after generation, where the grade levels in our schools have just started to deteriorate. And I don't know if it's because of the salary, I don't know if it's because of the talent, but I think this is something that needed urgent attention decades ago. It's now coming, we've now seen it coming to a head, whereas emotions, I saw a salary, I don't know if it was a teacher salary form that went out, making some $20,000 a year.
It's a janitress. And I'll tell you, now that you brought that up, the public service does an amazing set of things. And I'm not saying she should make that or shouldn't make it. Make as much as you want, Mom. But I want to say, in the public service, I understand monthly there's an email sent out with training opportunities to upskill. How many of these public servants, because now after all of this, you better show up to work on time and get the work done properly. Public service and customer service must match what it is that you're all rowing and carrying on about. I mean, because after all, with a genuine attempt, as far as I understand it, and I tried to reach out to Kingsley Ferguson yesterday and today, so this is not me trying to push one narrative, but we heard who I believe are two independent labor relations individuals who are former union presidents speak here this evening and talk about that it was initially their idea. Listen, let's see if we could up the salaries of the senior staff, because they are miserable where they were at, and they were leaving the system. And the Prime Minister said, no, let's include everyone so that there is no issue and that everyone has this boost in salary. And so the thing is, though, what are you doing to further help yourself along? That is important, Michael. You can wrap up your point before I bring Leslie in.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, we've seen or heard, I think I've heard governments talk about bringing quality, that being in terms of bringing the brightest minds into the government sector. But the only way that's going to happen if the salary scales match that of the levels that you're bringing, the persons that you're bringing in. And that's what's lacking in the government system. Is lacking for some time. We've seen other countries take on that approach, whereas though they've actually paid the proper salaries and they've gotten the brightest minds to come in and help to basically modernize the sectors within these government agencies. But that's gone. I think inland revenue, we've seen a change that has happened over the years.
Yes.
But that has to continue on throughout and trickle on right down to all of the other agencies, whether it's social services, education, and all the others.
What I saw today on television, many aspects, it really sickened me. The Prime Minister made an offer to the union. It was not negotiated. He said because of the difficult times that we are facing, especially with the cost of living, food store rents, decided to give an increase. And all of a sudden, the union members believed that they had the right to it. It wasn't negotiated. He made an offer, said, listen, October, I give you all an increase after that study was done. He came back and said, listen, we can't do it now. We do it in December. And all hell break loose. For what reason? Now you see why our kids having a D minus average. Because the teachers today didn't give a damn about them, their welfare. And mothers and fathers had to go pick up their kids today are mad as hell. Because it's unfair to the kids. I mean, you go in my office and you meet with me on Monday, a holiday. We tried to come to a consensus. We didn't. Said, okay, let's meet Tuesday then. Then Tuesday night, Monday night, you go on television and tell your people, get ready for tomorrow. Meet at 9 o'clock on Farm Road and we go downtown to march. That's putting gun to the man's head. What you expect him to do? You are head of your union, he's head of the government. You got to do what you got to do, and of course he got to do what he has to do, except he has to do on behalf of all of the Bahamian people, and not just your union people. I just thought it was great. And then the situation with the CIO leader and the FDM leader was so disgraceful. I mean, he went into the guy's face, called him a druggie, a nobody.
I really didn't want to repeat that.
But I had to because this man has children, He has a family.
Yeah.
And the letter, 2-bit, like Lincoln Bain, drag him down to that level. This is the guy who may be the next Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And this is one who wants to be. And acting like street thugs, man. It was disgraceful. The world sees that. Tourists are there. Look, looking at these guys. We got to do better than this, man. Got to do better.
Yeah,
Please try to do better.
Tempers unnecessarily ran high and obviously spilled out and out of control. Absolutely. Gentlemen, we could talk about that all evening, but I'm going to move this along. Sebas Bastien reportedly got the nod from the candidate selection committee this evening, putting him one step closer to securing the nomination for the Progressive Liberal Party in the Fort Charlotte constituency. Gentlemen, your thoughts about this? Of course, the PLP this evening had what they call an interview process before the selection committee. And so a number of persons, Robert Caron, who I understood showed up there with a whole live performance and all the rest of it, and people from throughout Michael, I understand, showed up from Michael today there at PLP headquarters, and others were there to be interviewed as well. But this is the biggest news. This person for sure knows that he's a step closer, Sebas Bastien. Your thoughts about Sebas Bastien and how this is looking and how he is looking as the PLP's potential candidate in Fort Charlotte?
Shanique, I think Sebas is a wonderful gentleman. He'd make an excellent candidate in the Fort Charlotte area. I think he can really make a difference in that area. And it speaks volume when we see this cadre, this quality of candidates putting themselves forth for the Progressive Liberal Party. It speaks volume as to what people believe that is happening, what's going on in the Progressive Liberal Party. And so I commend him and I congratulate him. And he, like you said, he's one step closer. Once you've been selected by the committee, it's just ratification and he's there. I'm positive that Sabas can secure the seat for the Progressive Liberal Party. I'm sure he'd be a wonderful candidate whether he was in a Free National Movement or any other party. I think he'll be a wonderful representative for the Fort Charlotte community. I think Fort Charlotte is going to see some really good representation.
Michael, your thoughts?
Shanique, it's good to see, we always talk about young people stepping up to the plate and actually representing whether it be constituencies or for parties, but also good to see that we have someone that's a businessman.
Yes.
A successful businessman that is, who has done very well in all different sectors of business, to really put their foot forward and said, hey, I'm ready to step up to the plate. I've made millions of dollars and almost everything that I put my hand in, and I want to now help carry this country to the next level. I think that's what we need to see all throughout our country. We need to see more young people like this. Sometimes we get tired of the lawyers running our country or not making the right business ideas or not looking at it from a business standpoint. And I think a lot of our ministries, we have to start looking at running them like businesses rather than run them like a call. Most of them, some of them are call centers, but we run some things like it's a cash center. We continue to pull from it rather than trying to say make it profitable. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what we need in order to kind of pull us out of what we see ourselves in and start running our country like it's a business.
People who are experienced and can actually bring something to the constituency level and as well as the national level. I absolutely agree with you, Michael. Leslie, your thoughts? Because
he is a high quality candidate. In fact, I indeed would say he's one of the top candidates that is going to be running for the Progressive Party. He'd be ratified tomorrow. The meeting starting at 6:30 at the Independence Center. He brings a wide array of experience in business, and that's what the country needs. The country is big business. The biggest business in the country is the government.
It's the country, yeah.
I'm sure he's going to make a valuable contribution, not only to the constituency, but to the Bahamas as a whole. And I look forward to working with him. I just told him yesterday to drop some of the little rats that's going to be hanging on to him,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
get rid of them, get rid of the hangers on, what I call the rats. Keep them away from your headquarters, keep them away from the street.
I know, but Leslie, now there's always a place for rats.
The place for rats is to get a trap and send them to damn glory. More sooner than later.
Listen to me. Once again, of course, if you missed that, and we will obviously talk about this and spend more time talking about all of the political organizations and their candidates as I introduce at the end of this month a series that will go from the end of this month until election about each constituency, each candidate, and what it is that they potentially can offer that area that they hope to represent. So it's going to be pretty exciting and pretty analytical. And so obviously this is something that we're looking forward to. I thank you so much, Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson, Michael Turnquest. Thank you each of you. I need to start getting used to that camera there. I keep saying that for this segment and for giving your thoughts and opinions on the stories that we talked about. Don't go anywhere though. UWI is next. The School of Clinical Research coming up after this.
My late husband, Tyrone Albury, had a passion for brewing beer at home. We found one of his recipes and we started on the stovetop with 1 gallon of beer. It was a hobby that turned into a passion project that turned completely out of control. We had to make a decision whether or not we were going to continue home brewing or open a brewery. So craft beer is basically brewing a very small batch of beer. Every individual batch of beer is going to be slightly different.
We're always trying to figure out what the next best beer is going to be.
Just the sheer amount of love and effort that goes into every brew. It's a science, really, to selecting the right grains and the hops, and then expanding on some of the normals.
Really, in the last couple of years, we've had a a lot more of the locals that have found our location.
They realize that there is a fuller flavor beer out there, and we take pride in that. When we first started the concept of the brewery and we were looking for funding, it was the SBDC that we leaned on to help me push through at times when I wanted to give up, to tell me when I was making mistakes, and for that, I am grateful. So I would encourage all entrepreneurs, if you're looking for funding, mentorship, and encouragement to launch your new business idea, I would encourage you to contact the SBDC.
Are you ready to take the next step in growing your business? Check your eligibility for our guaranteed loan program at sbdcbahamas.com/GLP or call 461-7232 to learn more about how the SBDC can support your business.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in. We're going to shift gears right now and speak with the University of the West Indies and its 19th annual Research Days. You can tell this is a whole lot that's going to be happening, and this event is going to be quite engaging and interesting. I'm happy to have and welcome Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler, Director of UWI School of Medicine and Research and Family Medicine. She's a physician there. Dr. Darren Holliday, he is the Research Committee Chairman, OBGYN, gynecologist and oncologist. Mr. Alfonso Blake Jr., he is the conference chairman this year's meeting, and of course a lecturer in epidemiology, biostatistics and research. Good evening to all of you. We'll have the other one join in a second, but we're just going to get started first and talk about this 19th annual Research Conference Days. Good evening to both of you and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening.
Good
Thanks,
evening. Thank you.
It's good to have you all here. Tell us about the organization and of course the upcoming event, the 19th annual Research Conference Days.
So thank you again for having us here this evening. We are proud to be a part of the University of the West Indies, which is a global university of excellence. The university has several campuses in Mona, which is in Jamaica, and our School of Clinical Medicine and Research is actually an extension or a site of the Mona. So we have been established in the Bahamas since 1997, and from that time we have had the privilege to train 4th and 5th year medical students to obtain their medical degrees at home. And so this has been truly a wonderful experience for Bahamians in particular. Since that time of us having a small cohort of students, we are proud to say that we have graduated over 720 new doctors, with 98% of them being Bahamian graduates. And this is from our MBBS program. This year, we were actually even more proud that we were able to report a 100% pass in first-time exam candidates. And so we're very, very pleased of the progress that we've had since 1997 to now. In addition to our...
So the university is showing no signs of slowing down?
Well,
I mean, here or in the region?
No, the region, we continue to blossom throughout the region as well as in the Bahamas. We know that it is important for us to continue to train physicians. And so it's even more important that we have also branched into training specialists. And so we also have postgraduate programs and quite a robust postgraduate training program where we've been able to train 7 specialties: family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, emergency medicine, obstetrics and gynecology, as well as surgery. So we know that there is certainly a growing need in the Bahamas as well as globally. And so coming from a university that is global and one that looks at inculcating a spirit of excellence and that has a vision that of excellence rooted in the Caribbean.
It does have that reputation.
Yes, and so we're not just training physicians, but we're also promoting education, research, and service in health and well-being. And so we're glad that we're here today to speak about our upcoming and exciting Research Days conference.
And this is what I want to ask. The next question: what is the research? Because what you're going to spend the days doing research. Like, give us an idea of exactly what is this Research Days conference.
Okay, good evening. So thank you again for having us. It's really wonderful to be here. Research Days was the brainchild of one of our former directors, Dr. Robin Roberts. And he was one of the first research committee chairs. The idea is that after having established a School of Clinical Medicine and Research, how do we showcase our research? How do we showcase what we have learned and communicate it to the wider public and disseminate it to the Ministry of Health? How do we inform all the stakeholders of what we've done so we can influence national policy? So the idea of the Research Day was to showcase what we have learned. Now, initially, the research conference was called Research Day because it was a half day. But as our director, Dr. Pinder Butler, has highlighted, the school has grown to cover both undergraduate and postgraduate training, and as such, the number of projects has grown exponentially. So from a half-day conference, we've now evolved into 2.5 days of conference. And we have to change the name to Research Day. And this year we mark our 19th annual conference where we showcase all what we have learned. The Bahamas have very excellent researchers. If I could think of our research in HIV, We think of Dr. Gomez, who was a trendsetter in that area, and he had helped to contribute to the international and national protocols with respect to HIV care in the Bahamas. So even though the Bahamas are small, it's mighty. And we usually invite all stakeholders in research in the Bahamas, whether they be doctors, nurses, allied healthcare providers, to share their findings with us. And to honor some of the work done by Dr. Roberts, we have him as our keynote speaker for this year. And we continue to work and disseminate our publications with the Ministry of Health. Typically, we would publish our abstracts in the West Indian Medical Journal and present our findings to the Ministry of Health to help influence national health policy.
Yeah, are people from other areas, wherever there is a UWI campus, going to be attending this conference?
Yes, there will be persons from other campuses. As a matter of fact, one of our speakers for the research workshop is coming in from Mona, and she has a wealth of experience in ethics, ethical submission, and she's coming to present on that and to train our young researchers on that as well.
Alfonso Blake, welcome to the discussion.
Thank you.
So it's good to have you here. It's good to know that there will be other people to just, kind of iron sharpens iron concept happening at this Research Days conference. Let's just talk about when and where will the 19th Annual Research Days conference take place?
So it will be next week, Wednesday, the 22nd to the 24th of October. And the opening night will be at the Paul Farquharson Hall, that's the police headquarters on East Street. And that will have an opening ceremony with the keynote speaker, Dr. Robin Roberts, that night, as well as a panel discussion, and we'll end with a cocktail reception. The following morning, which is the Thursday the 23rd, we'll have a research workshop at 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the UWI Mona PMH Research and Library. And that will be in person, and we'll have two presenters at that point. Following that, we'll have 2 afternoon sessions from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's on Thursday and Friday. Those will be all virtual, remotely via Zoom.
Now, the theme for this year's Research Days conference, again, this is the 19th Annual Research Days conference by University of the West Indies. The theme is, get this, making the Bahamas healthy again, building on a research foundation. Why that theme?
That's a good question. We have this theme because we want to move towards a more holistic approach to healthcare. Rather than just physical health, we want to think of financial health, we want to think of mental health, and we also want to think of nutritional health.
Yeah.
And we also...
Which is key, eh?
That is key, important.
Nutritional health.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for that, we also have an invited speaker coming in to speak about that as well, who is a clinical dietitian, to talk about how we can use our regular food to eat properly without going over our budget.
You just get, listen, that's all that important. You all were here for the first segment. You all heard me talk about the inflation and the public
Correct.
service, and which I know you all ain't here to talk about. I know, Doc, I see you already trying to say, Shanique, what's up? I get it. But all of that is important because even with the budget where you're at, you've got to learn to use that to make healthier decisions.
And that's completely true.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes. Now, is it free? Is there a cost to attend?
The conference is generally free, so everyone is invited to attend. However, the research workshop is the only paid component to that. And it's for $30 for students and $50 for non-students. So physicians, nurses, physiotherapists, anyone involved in research, policy decision making are invited to come to this workshop and for free, except the research workshop. And the opening night is also free, and we have a cocktail reception afterwards for that.
Yeah, let's talk about the networking and collaboration opportunities. Everybody loves a good networking opportunity.
Okay, so thank you for that. But before we move on, this is one of our major continuing medical education events that is put on by the university. So while everyone is free to attend, we have an administrative fee of $100 for those who wish to claim CMEs. But this is a wonderful opportunity to network and to meet researchers and lecturers who are at the cutting edge of medical technology. And for me, I could recall personally We had an invited speaker, Arthur Porter, who presented a lecture on how we can go from bedside to research and to drug development. And having spoken with him in the sessions in between, he was instrumental in helping me to go away to do further studies in Canada. So it's a wonderful opportunity to network. And though it's virtual, we have virtual chat rooms and other opportunities to network. And the opening night is also a wonderful opportunity to network. And one of the highlights, the research workshop, because it's hands-on and a small-knit group, we get to meet individuals who could help us develop our ideas and take them from concept to publication, and which would impact our country in a meaningful way.
So here's an incentive. People would love this. Like if you run a marathon or walk like a 5K, you want to know you get a medal. So get this one. Will the workshop be interactive, and will there be an opportunity for certification? Like when you leave, you are certified in something?
First, I'll answer this certification question. Yes, you're going to get a certificate of participation, as well as you can claim your CMEs. But will it be interactive? Definitely yes. You cannot have an in-person research workshop without interaction. And I think that's a very good space for persons who are interested in research, who has to do research, and that's for all the physicians, all the persons who are doing postgrad programs, all the persons involved in policies, to come out and meet with our dynamic presenters, get to understand how to collect data, how to develop a proposal from which really, so to add this, I can say we have an ethical committee here wherein once you're doing a study, you have to submit a proposal for review to ensure that you're meeting ethical standards. So we are training persons as to how to submit to a committee and what to think about, as well as how to collect the data in a safe and secure manner using a specialized platform.
I think we had a QR code up there on the screen a moment ago. I don't know if you all want that to hang out there for a while. But is the registration limited, or is it still open and people can kind of just still get in?
Persons can still get in. It's limited for the workshop. We have limited spaces for the workshop. So if you haven't registered as yet, the QR code is on your screen. So please use that QR code to register for the workshop. And as I said, it's going to be very dynamic, very engaging, and we have interesting speakers being there for that.
Now, is there a cost for the workshop?
The workshop is the only component of the conference which has a cost, and that's for $30 for students and $50 for non-students.
Now, people want to know, after they have paid this little fee to participate, and you can see it's rich. This is a different level and different environment, really worth the investment and worth the attendance, right? But they want to know, can they have access to the material? Can they go somewhere where there's perhaps a storage space to be able to watch again or listen and go over some information?
Okay, so since approximately 2015, we've made all our conference material available via our YouTube channel. And to access this, our main website for registration to the conference is at sunshinelearner.com. And you click the link and be taken to our conference site and registration site. The link to our YouTube channel is sunshinelearner.com/YouTube. And that will take you directly to our YouTube page, where you're able to view all our archive material since about 2015 with our stellar lectures and distinguished speakers and professors. So if you miss it in person or in the cloud on the day, there's still opportunity for you to learn from our event.
And quickly, phone numbers. Any phone numbers that people can call, because sometimes people didn't necessarily want to go online. Any numbers?
Yes, we have 603-011-021. That's 603-011-021.
Say that one more time, slower. One more time.
242-603-011-021.
Okay, you all got that. Use that phone number. This research days is next Wednesday through Friday. That's the 22nd through the 24th. UWI is putting it on you, so you know it's rich. You know it's something to be in the room for. Anybody in the industry, anybody thinking but the industry, students, all the rest of it, certainly register and take advantage of a great opportunity. I thank you so much, Doctor, and I thank you very much, of course, Mr. Blake. Thank you. And of course, Dr. Pinder Butler, who was here at the top of this segment. Thank you as well. And also at the top of tonight's show, I thank so much Bernard Evans and Paul Maynard. And then, of course, my Hot Topics panelists, Leslie Miller, Ellington Ferguson, Michael Turnquest. And in this segment, the representatives from the University of the West Indies. Thank you once again. A big thank you to all of you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.